Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. I know, exams are just around the corner. But please, don't you worry at all. Today, we're going to do something really fun. We're going to turn this science chapter into an amazing holiday trip all across India. That's right, we'll learn all about the methods of separation while visiting farms, beaches, and even kitchens. So, are you ready to explore? Cello, let's go!
So let me introduce you to our travel buddies for this little adventure. Meet Molly and his sister Volley. They're on this super exciting summer vacation, a Bharat Ki Yatra, where they're traveling all over India to visit their relatives. And the best part? We're going with them, and we're going to learn some pretty amazing science concepts along the way.
All right, our first stop, farming fun in Haryana. We're going to learn how farmers prepare our food. So, picture this. We're at their Nani's house in Haryana, and all around us are these beautiful, big fields just full of golden grains. Right here, in the middle of all this fun, our very first lesson is about to begin. Let's see what Molly and Volley find out.
So, have a look here. Molly seizes Emmy, and she's carefully picking out these tiny little stones from the grains. And, this reminds him of something he did just at lunch. Remember picking out those whole black peppers from your yummy pulao? Yeah, just like that. And this simple act, just picking things out by hand, is our very first method of separation.
And this super simple method is called, you guessed it, handpicking. We use it when we can clearly see the different things in a mixture, like separating stones from rice, because they have a different color and shape. We do this all the time at home, don't we? Ekdam simple hai.
Okay, let's step out into the fields for a bit and see what's going on over there. Whoa, look! The farmers are taking big bundles of wheat stalks and they're beating them on a log. Now, Molly and Volley are super curious, and I bet you are too. Why on earth are they doing that? Well, this is exactly how they separate those tiny, precious grains from the big, long stalks.
This whole process has a name, of course, and it's our next method, threshing. It's basically the process of beating the stalks to shake the grains free. Now, while we see it being done by hand here, you should know that on big farms, they now use huge machines called threshers that do this job way, way faster.
Okay, so great, we have the grains. But wait a minute, they're still mixed with all this light, flaky stuff called husk. Now, can we sit and handpick every single tiny piece of husk? No way, that would take forever. So how do we solve this problem? What's the secret trick here?
The answer, my friends, is winnowing. What happens is, farmers use something called a soup. It's like a tray, and they let the whole mixture fall from a height. The wind then does the magic. It blows away the lighter husk, but the heavier grains, they just fall straight down. So you see, the wind is our best friend here, helping us separate everything perfectly.
All right, moving on. Salt, tea, and more. We're off on our next adventure to Ahmedabad and Puducherry. So far, we've seen how to separate solids from other solids. But now, let's see how we separate things from liquids.
So here we are in Ahmedabad, and the kids visit the Sabarmati ashram, and they learn all about the famous Dandi March for salt. This gets them really thinking, how do we actually get our namak, salt, from the huge sea? Well, it's pretty cool. Seawater is collected in these shallow pits called salt pans, and then the sun does its magic.
And this magic has a scientific name, evaporation. It's actually really simple. The heat from the sun turns the water into water vapor, right? And that vapor just goes up into the air, leaving the solid salt behind. It's the exact same thing that happens when your wet clothes dry in the sun. The water just evaporates.
Okay, next stop, Puducherry. Their Dada is making some chai. But wait a second, he doesn't have a strainer. How is he going to get the tea leaves out? Well, he tells them there's a special trick. He just lets the tea sit for a moment, and then he gently pours it out. Let's look really closely at what he just did.
So actually, two things happen right there. Step 1, the heavier tea leaves all settle down at the bottom of the pot. That is called sedimentation. Then, step 2, Dada carefully poured the clear tea into the cup, leaving all those settled leaves behind. That gentle pouring action, that's called decantation. See? 2 new words, and they're pretty simple, right?
But, sometimes a few tiny tea leaves still sneak into the cup. So for a perfect, clean separation, we use something called filtration. A tea strainer is actually a type of filter, but for even finer things, like getting mud out of water, we can use a special filter paper. You just fold it into a cone, just like this, pop it into a funnel, and pour the mixture through. The tiny holes in the paper only let the liquid pass, trapping everything else. But wait, our adventure is not over yet. We're now heading to our final stops: butter, magnets, and more fun in Madhya Pradesh and Shillong. We're about to learn some really special separation tricks now.
So, in Bhopal, Mali and Wali are enjoying some fresh buttermilk, chach. And this makes them wonder, how is that delicious butter actually made? I bet you've seen those videos on Instagram, right? Those really satisfying ones where they keep mixing cream and it slowly turns into a big lump of butter. Aapne dekhe hai na? Bas yahi to hai churning.
That's right, that whole process is called churning. When you shake or stir curd or cream really fast, vigorously, the lighter butter separates out and it floats right on top of the heavier buttermilk. It's all about the difference in weight. That's the simple science behind it.
And for our final stop, we're in Shillong. Now look at this. They see a carpenter who has a bit of a problem. He's dropped all his iron nails into a big pile of sawdust. Ugh, picking them out one by one would be so much work. But the kids have a brilliant idea. They run and get a magnet and poof, like magic, all the iron nails jump right out and stick to it. And this same idea is used on a massive scale, like in this picture, to lift giant pieces of iron out of scrap yards.
And this method is called, well, you already know it, don't you? Magnetic separation. It's probably the easiest one to understand. You just use a magnet to pull out anything magnetic, like iron, from a mixture of things that aren't magnetic. The whole principle is simply magnetism.
Phew, what an amazing trip that was. We learned so much. Okay, now for the most important part, especially for your exams. It's time for a super quick revision. So don't take any tension, bachcho. I have got you covered. Let's put everything we learned in one simple place.
Okay, bachcho, I want you to look at this table very carefully. This right here is your ultimate revision tool for the exam. On the left, you see every method we talked about. In the middle column, the kind of mixture it's used for, and on the right, the simple science behind it. Seriously, I want you to pause right now and take a good look. Maybe even take a screenshot. Trust me, this will be your best friend for that last-minute revision. All right, time for a quick practice question to see if you were paying attention. Ready? Cream is separated from milk by, is it A, filtration, B, churning, or C, evaporation? Think about those satisfying Instagram videos we talked about. I'll give you just 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
And the correct answer is B, churning. Of course it is. You guys are absolute champions. Well done, well done. I just knew you would get that one right.
Okay, and now that you're all experts, I have a final challenge for my little scientists. Imagine you have a mixture of salt, sand, and iron filings. How would you separate all three things? Here's a hint. You're going to need to use more than one method. Think about what makes each one different. What would you do first? Let me know your step-by-step plan in the comments below. Keep that amazing curiosity alive, and I will see you in the next explainer. All the very best for your exams.